Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town for this Thursday, April the 1st. Thursday mornings, our first Thursday morning of the month at this time. We have an update from Holland City Hall, normally with City Manager Keith Van Beek, but Keith is unavailable today, so we are very pleased to have on the other side of our Zoom connection, Matt Van Dyken. He is the Assistant City Manager. Matt, good morning, and welcome back to WHTC's Talk of the Town.
Thank you, and good morning.
Good morning, and if you have a question about Holland City government, Matt's the man to ask at 395-1450, 395-1450. Of course, don't want to pry too much as to why Keith couldn't join us, but I would think part of what's on his mind right now is putting together the proposed municipal budget for fiscal 2022. That will be before city council members for consideration later this month and up for a formal vote in early May.
Yeah, so we've spent a lot of time over the last several months with each of the departments putting all those budgets together. You know, we've got so many different line items and different business kind of units that we have, from public safety to transportation to parks to community and neighborhood services. It really is a Herculean effort by our finance department to put that budget together. We've got our new finance director, Lynn McCammon, is hitting the ground running. Tim Vogley, our former director, really left her in a great position. And she is just doing great things. So we're very lucky to have her and the entire crew down in the finance department to put that budget together. You know, it's hundreds and hundreds of pages, and it really sets the stage and the direction that we're gonna go in the next fiscal year. Obviously, council gets kind of the strategic level vision, and then the staff puts together the dollars and cents that are behind it. So we're excited to start discussing the specifics of that with council. We'll do that at the next regular meeting, which is April, it's the second Wednesday in April, whatever that date is. So we're excited to get that rolling.
It looks like it'll be the 14th because I believe the 7th is it's going to be set aside because of spring break. Yeah. The challenges, and I know that you're a part of the team that puts it together, the challenges of trying to put together a spending plan in this COVID environment when perhaps to a certain extent you just don't know what revenues are going to be or really can't project revenues right now.
Yeah, obviously we have to project revenues, right? But we all understand, and actually coming through the last year, that there may be touch points where we have to amend the budget. Obviously, it's council's decision to do that or not do that. But yeah, the last 12 months have taught us anything. You've got to kind of adjust on the fly because the rules change, our revenues change. But again, I think our finance department has done a really, really good job over the last year, keeping track of all the impacts and guiding us through what those are so that we're prepared for the future, because we are going to come out of this. We've got the civic centers rolling. It has been, as a vaccination clinic for a number of weeks now. So that's exciting to see all of our citizens getting vaccinated. And we're looking forward to a brighter future ahead where we're not wearing masks and we can, have a street performer series downtown. Right now, we can't do that, but we're looking to the future and looking very much forward, as I'm sure you are, to being out and about more and being among people that are in our immediate families.
Talk a little bit about Matt Van Dyken, some of the changes in planning right now, a logistics situation. Normally, when we talk in April, this time of year, we're looking ahead to tulip time. We're a month away. It starts on May the 1st this year. And we're talking about trying to get all the logistics in for the parades and the street closures and the like. Again, not this way. It's apparently, same as last year, but at least there is some planning for some things. And the city has to work with the festival in order to get some of the things taken care of, most notably. And we have the announcement this week that the Midway Carnival is going to be back up in the parking lot near the Civic Center.
Yeah, and actually, interestingly enough, I've already seen tulips blooming. I think that's very much an anomaly, and we're still a few weeks away from the rest of them blooming. But yeah, we work very closely with Gwen and her staff, really the Parks Department, our office, to really work with the Ottawa County Health Department to determine what we can and can't do. Tulip Time last year, unfortunately, had to cancel all their stuff. We still had tulips come up, we had people visit, but none of the normal fun activities that Tulip Time offers happened. So they are going to have limited events. Gwen and her staff have been working with the Ottawa County Health Department to help determine what's allowed under the current executive orders. We don't know if MDHHS is going to come out with some different rules before the festival actually comes about. They could, but we'll again adjust on the fly, and Gwen will adjust on the fly. She's done a really good job of that. So we're looking forward to welcoming visitors to Holland safely. The tulips are going to come up. They're going to be beautiful. We've got some tulips downtown that apparently have little mini wooden shoes this morning. So we'll have to talk to our Parks Department. Andy Kenyon and Jamie Scott had a little video this morning that we're very surprised. So we'll see what happens with that, but we're excited. People are going to come to town, and we're going to welcome them safely.
If you have a question for Matt Van Dyken, he is the Assistant City Manager for the City of Holland. He'll be happy to take it at 395-1450, 395-1450. Some aspects of some of the things I'm going to be discussing with you, and perhaps our listeners will be discussing with you, Matt, fall into the general umbrella of city staff. It's might be a streets department topic, or a parks department topic, or a public safety topic, but it's all basically under the umbrella. So we just keep that in mind. If Matt says, well, I have to get back with you, that's because it's under the umbrella, but each department has their own responsibilities. I do want to talk about something that was disclosed earlier this week. The spring cleanup has been extended. Tell us a little bit about how that came about, and people have a little bit longer time to get their yard brush trimmings and everything out to the curb and ready to go for cleanup.
Yeah, so that was actually an idea from our streets department that, hey, we've got an opportunity here. We can extend this a week. It gives the folks that are not going to a warmer climate a chance to enjoy what sounds like it's going to be really good weather here for us the week of spring break, to clean up the yards a little bit more, do a little more of that work, enjoy the beautiful weather, enjoy the sun. It's not going to cost us anything more. We simply move that work back a little bit, and it gives the citizens a chance to do a little more work. So that was their suggestion, and then we wholeheartedly support that. So get out there, clean up your yards, go to the city's website to view the rules if you're not certain of what those are. And let's make this town beautiful, because I'm looking at Centennial Park right now, Gary, and the park staff has really cleaned that up, and it just looks gorgeous. So again, excited to welcome folks. Yeah,
and the rules are there because the spring cleanup is when you can put twigs and branches out. It's the fall cleanup, which is only leaves. So if you got some stuff that you need to clear out, this is the time to do it. And if you don't get to the street signs, or if you need something a little bit bigger, Project Pride coupons are available, and the city is willing to work with residents to get this taken care of. The story, by the way, is on the website at WHTC.com. Esther Felski of Human Relations, International Relations, sent out a release a little while ago about tenant landlord training, and the fact that it is going to be a virtual training next Thursday night, April 8th, from 7 to 8:30 via the Zoom, a panel presentation, tenant landlord rights and responsibilities. And again, city staff has to deal with some questions, especially not so much from the commercial landlords, because these are professionals, they know what they're doing, but maybe somebody who has an extra room in the house and want to get a little extra revenue, and so they're going to rent it out for people to use. There's some laws and some rules. This, I would think, Matt, is a good chance for people to know exactly what they can and cannot do if they're going to be a smaller renter than maybe the professionals.
Yeah, and that actually runs. So Esther really works when there's a conflict between the renter and the landlord, right? That's where Esther comes in. And I think that's the training that she's going to help facilitate with the event that you just talked about. If someone is considering renting their house, I would strongly encourage them to call our Community and Neighborhood Services Department. Their number is 355-1330. and they will be able to go through the regulations to establish a rental. We obviously want to make sure that both the tenants and the landlords both have rights. We want to make sure that it's a safe situation. So we do run a rental inspection program.
Repeat the number again, because in case somebody wants to write it down, they, oh, what was that number? What was that number they want to get?
That's 355-1330, or they can always call our main line at 355-1300 and get routed to the appropriate department.
What's the difference, Matt? And maybe I'm, again, if I'm barking up the wrong tree on your department, you can tell me. What's the difference between trying to set up a rental as a landlord and maybe somebody who wants to set up not so much a bed and breakfast, but they want to get into the short-term rental business, and it has become very popular over the last few years?
Yeah, so we actually went through a pilot program for short-term rentals. So we're talking about VRBOs, those kind of rentals where somebody rents their home when they're not in it out to someone generally. Again, that's going to be Tricia on our Community and Neighborhood Services Department handles all those types of questions, and we'll be able to go into detail. I would hesitate to go into detail, Gary, as you alluded to earlier. I don't know all the details of every little rule and regulation for all our departments. So again, Community Neighborhood Services is something, if somebody is interested, they can talk to those folks and they'll guide them through the process. They're really good at doing that.
It seems that the city has sort of gotten its bearings on the Airbnb market, because obviously this being a destination location for vacationers, especially in the warmer months, residents that see a way to maybe get some extra income for their homes will want to rent out their houses. And it's not like, say, 2018 or 2017 when this was something new and municipalities were maybe not ready for this. I think Holland, to a certain extent, is ready for this type of season, and really ready to deal with the problems and the pleasures that the Airbnb industry does have in our area.
Yeah, and if we look throughout the state, there are a number of communities that really, the Airbnb thing, the VRBO thing, kind of hit them hard, and they had a major amount of their housing stock, or a significant amount of their housing stock, converted into Airbnbs or VRBOs. We were very cautious, so we don't. It's not that we don't allow those, but we did cap the number of Airbnbs and VRBOs that could be in this community, and then there's some other rules, some distances between them, and things like that. So if we saw communities like, for instance, Traverse City had a significant amount, I think Grand Haven had a significant amount. We didn't see as many or as much of a demand for the VRBOs as some of the other communities did. So again, I think the council was wise. They went through a pilot process. They limited the numbers. They used some other restrictions to kind of limit the impact on neighborhoods, and we can move forward. So again, if somebody's interested in doing that with their home, call Community and Neighborhood Services, get an understanding of what's required and what's not required, and they'll walk you through that process.
395-1450 is the number. 395-1450. If you have a question for Matt Van Dyken, he is the Assistant City Manager for the City of Holland. He'll be happy to take it at 395-1450. Matt, this is sort of a primer question, but it's a good one to bring up again as we're nearing the end of the 13th month of the COVID-19 restrictions. If somebody needs to do business with a department in the City of Holland, be it City Hall General, or maybe the streets, or international relations, or something like that, what's the protocol for people who need to do business with the City of Holland?
So right now, we're limiting access to City Hall to the lobby. So people can still come in the lobby. They can get their recycle bags. They can get their Project Pride coupon. If they need to drop off building plans, we're seeing a lot of construction, Gary, as you can see the cranes downtown again. So we're limiting access to City Hall. The best thing to do is to call or email. Everybody here has got email on their phones or their mobile device. So we are really very responsive that way. And that just keeps everybody safe, right? That first initial phone call, if there's a decision that there needs to be some kind of a meeting that takes place, we can facilitate that. either via Zoom or in rare cases in person. So again, phone calls first, the phone keeps everybody safe, right? We're more than socially distanced when we're on our phone. So that would be the first course of action, is to find the appropriate number or call that 1300 number, and we'll route you to the right department.
Now, the other thing is, and walk me through, and the reason why you're going to have to walk me through is I'm not a property owner. And so I don't have to worry about dealing with property taxes. For those who have to deal with property taxes, this is not, this is more like beginning of the year, end of the year, but sometimes you need to take care of that in person. And that might be a little bit of a sticky wicket.
Actually, we had a pretty good process for that, Gary. We did allow people to come into City Hall. We did limit access to the lobby, and we made sure that people wore masks and social distance, and they were allowed to come in, pay their taxes, and go along their merry way. We very much appreciate them, obviously, coming in and paying their taxes, because that's how we keep our city beautiful. But yeah, we had a pretty good process to allow people to come in City Hall in person, or there's a drop box outside where they can just drop their check in. So yeah, it worked out fairly well, and we were able to keep everybody safe.
Yeah, I'm thinking about services and needs that you need to have the face-to-face contact. And, when you're dealing with several $100s or $1,000 with the taxes, that's something let's put it this way. Yes, you could put the slip, the check in the drop box, but I feel a little uncomfortable about, if I'm writing a several $1,000 check to the city of Holland for taxes, I want to make sure they got it and not hope that, oh, we lost it in the mailbox, and all of a sudden, I'm out. I got to pay double the tax, and then, oh, we found it. Yeah, it's just a pain in what.
We would very much work with you, and our drop box is under video surveillance, so we make sure that we've got video, so we can tell if you indeed did drop your taxes in that box.
Yeah, that I'm just thinking the amount of money involved. That is definitely a concern. Good morning. You're on the line with Matt Van Dyken.
Yeah, I just have a question about, the carts that they're going to, for recycling that we're going to get. Mm-hmm. Do you know how big those are? Are they the same size as a garbage can, or?
Yeah, they're the 96-gallon carts.
Oh, okay. Okay, and those are coming this month sometime?
Yeah, I believe those begin to be delivered on April 12th.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for the call. 395-1450. Go ahead there, Matt.
Maybe I can backpack on that, or piggyback on that question a little bit. We do have a new recycling website. It's recycleholland.com.
One word? Is that Recycle Holland one word?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure there's no dot on that.
Yeah, recycleholland.com, so that will be available. The new carts actually will have that website and a QR code on them. As you know, recycling there's some changes and nuances to that. So that'll link to a website that has live information so that we keep everybody up to date. And they can go to that URL or just hit that QR code with their smartphone and get all the latest and greatest recycling info.
Now, this is just residential recycling we're talking about, right?
Correct.
Okay, yep. I just want to make sure it's not those of us who are commercial citizens of Holland, as we are.
Well, we very much hope that our commercial citizens of Holland embrace recycling like the rest of us do. So hopefully you guys do that.
we got a big a good sized blue container now next to our dumpster at our studios so that we can contribute. And yes, the maintenance crews were in yesterday to do what they do best. 395-1450, 395-1450. I'll ask you a streets question, Matt. We're starting to see the construction season going on, state construction season going on, especially on the south side. Blue Star Highway is going to be very busy. Washington Avenue is going to be very busy as southbound I-196 gets a complete makeover from basically from the airport all the way down through Saugatuck so that we don't have to have our own chiropractic clinic every time we drive down that way with the shape of the roads. What about City of Holland? Last few years, we've seen major reconstructions on sometimes north-south roads, sometimes east-west roads. Last year, it was 16th Street that got the treatment. What about this year?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question, Gary. We actually, I don't know if folks realize it, but we actually have a fairly scientific way of rating our roads and helping to decide when we replace those certain roads. And that's called a PASER rating system. We've got some staff that's trained in that. So we really work hard to try to keep our local streets up and running in the condition that they should be. So for this coming year, we have a 10th Street reconstruction from Lincoln to Van Raalte. We have a College Avenue reconstruction from 14th to 24th Street. Country Club will be reconstructed from 8th to Legion Park, and the bridge on Pawpaw Drive will be rehabbed. In addition to those, and I think you touched on the I-196 construction, which is going to be pretty major, and you're right, that was a tooth rattler driving through there. We have a project for street resurfacing, so there'll be approximately 5.9 miles of our street network will be resurfaced. So that's not the big construction where we take care of all the utilities and everything else. That's generally what's called a mill and a fill. We'll be working towards a traffic signal at 12th and River Avenue, so just outside my window here. And then we will be working on snowmelt improvements on Columbia from 7th up into Freedom Village. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. Our Transportation Services Department is really rolling on these projects. Many of them have already had public open houses to talk to people, and we're looking forward to getting some of these projects done.
395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with Assistant City Manager Matt Van Dyken.
Hello. I just have a question to ask about downtown, the sidewalks that have the snow melt under them, the bricks. There's quite a few areas it seems like that the bricks are uneven, and I'm just wondering, this is an area where people are walking all the time. There's a lot of people come downtown, walk from Freedom Village, older people, and I'm just wondering about, do those bricks get checked frequently? To me, it looks like a good place where they will have people tripping and falling.
So good question. So Amy Sasimoto is our Downtown Development Authority manager. She does a walkthrough every spring. So not quite yet, but soon. We have a contractor that will go through and fix all those bricks. So a lot of times you'll see where like a tree root has pushed the bricks up, or perhaps an area that is wet and a brick has just come out of alignment. So there is a process that we have to walk those every year. And then we go through and repair all of those different pieces and parts. In addition to that, we have worked with the Holland Smart Zone. We're going to be undertaking a streetscape inventory with an engineering firm, and then we'll have an overall streetscape. I want to call it a refreshment because, in my opinion, and I think most people, we think downtown Holland is a beautiful place, right? And the work that was done back in the 80s is absolutely amazing. We want to make sure that we're keeping that up. So we're going to go through a process to not only keep up the downtown infrastructure, but also future-proof it, which is a tough word, right? So we're going to try to figure out what we need, if we're going to touch the road surface, what we need to put under the ground, so that if people wanted to wirelessly charge an electric vehicle downtown, they could do that in the future. Or I don't know, who knows what. Think about anything you could think of, Star Wars kind of stuff. We're going to touch it, so let's do it once.
Appreciate the call. Thank you very much. And Matt Van Dyken, want to thank you for your thoughts and some of the questions answered about what's going on in the City of Holland. Look forward to chatting with Keith again next month, but we appreciate you joining us this morning on Talk of the Town, Matt.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Matt Van Dyken on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.